Jenna, exhilarated by the prospect of a solo adventure, pulled up to the charming Victorian house. Its gables and turrets stood out against the twilight sky. The house, rented through Airbnb, promised a peaceful retreat. The listing described it as a charming historical home.
I can't wait to spend the week exploring its nooks and crannies.
Jenna, a lover of all things vintage, couldn't wait to spend the week exploring its nooks and crannies. She unloaded her bags, eager to settle in for a relaxing week. The house, though old, was well maintained. The furniture was antique, giving it an authentic feel. Jenna wandered through the rooms, admiring the intricate details. Stained glass windows cast colorful patterns on the hardwood floors. The air was filled with the scent of lavender, a welcoming aroma that calmed her nerves. She felt a sense of peace settle over her. The next morning, Jenna woke up refreshed. Sunlight streamed through the lace curtains. She made herself a cup of coffee and stepped out onto the balcony. The garden below was a riot of colors, buzzing with bees and butterflies. As she sipped her coffee, she noticed a small, almost hidden door in the hallway. It was so well concealed that she hadn't seen it the day before.
What's this? How did I miss this door yesterday?
Curiosity piqued, she approached it. The door creaked loudly as she pushed it open. Dust particles danced in the shaft of light that pierced the darkness. A narrow, steep staircase appeared, leading up to the attic. Jenna hesitated for a moment. There was something unsettling about the darkness that lay beyond the door. But curiosity got the better of her. She took a deep breath and started climbing the stairs. The attic was dark and dusty, filled with forgotten furniture and boxes. Cobwebs hung from the rafters, and the air was heavy with the smell of decay. Jenna moved cautiously, her hand trailing along the wall. As her eyes adjusted to the dimness, she noticed something strange. In the far corner of the attic, propped against the wall, was a large, ornate mirror. Its surface was shattered, a spiderweb of cracks spreading across its once reflective surface.
What happened to this mirror?
Jenna approached the mirror, drawn to its eerie beauty. As she got closer, she saw something even more unsettling. Scrawled across the wall in what looked like charcoal was a message. The letters were shaky and uneven, but clear enough to read, "Get out." A chill ran down her spine, her heart pounded in her chest. Someone had been up here, someone who clearly didn't want her there. Jenna spent the rest of the day trying to shake off the unsettling feeling that had settled over her. She tried to convince herself that the message was just a prank, a cruel joke played by a previous guest. But the words "get out" echoed in her mind, refusing to be silenced. As night fell, she found herself growing increasingly anxious. The shadows in the house seemed to twist and writhe, taking on menacing forms.
Get a grip, Jenna. It's just your imagination.
Sleep proved impossible. Every creak of the floorboards, every rustle of leaves outside the window sent her heart racing. Then, just as she was about to drift off, she heard it. A soft, almost imperceptible sound coming from the attic above. Footsteps. Slow, deliberate footsteps, pacing back and forth. Jenna lay frozen in terror, her breath caught in her throat. Someone or something was up there, moving around in the darkness. Jenna tossed and turned throughout the night, the sound of the footsteps echoing in her mind. Morning arrived, painting the sky with hues of pink and orange, but it did little to ease her fear. She felt trapped, desperate to escape the confines of the house. Jenna, my first instinct was to contact the host, Mrs. Thompson. She reached for her phone, her hands trembling. She scrolled through her messages, finding the thread with Mrs. Thompson. She quickly typed out a message, explaining that she didn't feel safe and wanted to leave. She hit send and waited, her heart pounding in her chest. Minutes turned into hours, but there was no response. Jenna tried calling, but the call went straight to voicemail. Mrs. Thompson was unreachable. Fear gnawed at Jenna's insides. She couldn't stay in the house, not with the unsettling message, the footsteps, and now Mrs. Thompson's silence. She decided to investigate the attic again, hoping to find some explanation for the strange occurrences. Jenna, I have to figure out what's going on. She cautiously made her way back to the hidden door, her hand hovering over the doorknob. Taking a deep breath, she pushed the door open and climbed the creaking stairs. The attic was just as she had left it, dark, dusty, and filled with an unsettling stillness. She walked towards the spot where she'd seen the mirror and the message. As she got closer, she noticed something she hadn't seen before. In the floor, partially hidden by a pile of old rugs, was a small, square trapdoor. It looked old, cobwebs sealing its edges shut. Jenna, what is this? Jenna knelt down, her heart pounding in her chest. She reached out a trembling hand and brushed away the cobwebs. The trapdoor was made of rough-hewn wood, its surface dark and weathered. She tried to lift it, but it wouldn't budge. It was either stuck or nailed shut. As she leaned closer, trying to get a better look, she heard a noise coming from below. A soft scratching sound, like claws on wood. Jenna, what? What is that? Suddenly, the trapdoor swung open, as if pulled from below. Jenna stumbled backward, her heart leaping into her throat. The opening revealed a dark, earthen pit. A cold, damp breeze wafted up, carrying with it the scent of decay. And then, she felt it. A hand. Icy cold and surprisingly strong, shooting up from the darkness and clamping onto her ankle. Attic whisperer, whispering eerily, "You shouldn't have come here. Jenna, let go! Let go of me!" Jenna's scream echoed through the attic, mingling with the sinister whispers from below. Jenna screamed, the sound echoing through the empty attic. Jenna, grunting. She kicked out wildly, her foot connecting with something solid. The grip on her ankle tightened momentarily, then vanished. She scrambled back, scrambling to her feet. Adrenaline surged through her veins, urging her to flee. She didn't hesitate. She didn't look back. She ran down the attic stairs, her lungs burning, her heart pounding against her ribs. She raced through the house, not stopping to grab her belongings. She burst out the front door and into the bright sunshine. She didn't stop running until she reached her car. Fumbling with the keys, she unlocked the door, threw herself inside, and sped away. Jenna drove until she reached the nearest town, her body still trembling with adrenaline and fear. She checked into a hotel, choosing a room on the highest floor, as far away from any attics as possible. She spent the day trying to calm her nerves, but the events of the previous night kept replaying in her mind. Jenna, whispering to herself. The shattered mirror, the message, the footsteps, the trapdoor, the hand. Finally, she gathered the courage to contact Airbnb. She reported her experience, her voice trembling as she recounted the terrifying events. Jenna, on the phone. I need to report something. The attic, the message, the trapdoor, and the hand that reached out from the darkness. Airbnb representative, concerned. Oh my, that's horrifying. We will investigate immediately. Please stay safe. The Airbnb representative on the other end of the line was horrified. They assured Jenna that they would investigate immediately. The following day, Jenna received a call from Airbnb. They informed her that they had tried to contact Mrs. Thompson, the owner of the Victorian house, but their attempts had been unsuccessful. They had also dispatched a team to the property, but the house was deserted. There was no sign of Mrs. Thompson or any other occupant. It was as if they had vanished into thin air. Airbnb representative on the phone, Miss Jenna. We tried contacting Mrs. Thompson, but we couldn't reach her. Our team went to the property, but it was deserted. No sign of anyone. The Airbnb listing was immediately taken down, and an investigation was launched. But despite their best efforts, no trace of Mrs. Thompson or the Victorian house was ever found. It was as if the house and its mysterious owner had never existed. The charming historical home had vanished without a trace, leaving behind only unanswered questions and a lingering sense of dread. Jenna eventually returned home, but the experience left an indelible mark on her psyche. She vowed never again to book an old house on Airbnb, her trust in charming historical homes irrevocably shattered. The events of that weekend continued to haunt her, the memory of the icy hand reaching out from the darkness forever etched in her mind. Jenna, thoughtfully, what had lurked in the attic of that Victorian house? What dark secret had Mrs. Thompson been hiding? And what had become of the house and its enigmatic owner? These questions lingered unanswered, a chilling reminder of the terrifying Airbnb experience that had forever changed Jenna's life. The truth, it seemed, would forever remain buried in the shadows, a haunting mystery that would forever send shivers down her spine.